So today, I was asked by my friend Washeke, and I'm really honored. I longed to come and have this conversation with you. One, because it is a journey that I've walked. And I'm in that part of my life where I feel I need to share what I have learned along the way. Of course, I have authored a book, Give Me My Mountain. Maybe many of you have seen it. And in that book, one of the statements that I put in that book is, I believe that the journey I've walked for you, so that the stones have pierced me, and the thorns that have pierced me do not pierce you. Had you told me to do this 3 years ago, perhaps I wouldn't. Why? Because my business structures would not have allowed me to do it. So now I feel I'm prepared to spend a morning with you, and money is still being made for me. Who am I? My name, as you have been told, I'm Esther Muchemi. I'm an accountant by training, a practicing auditor for many years. I practiced for 10 years. I started as an audit trainee, and by the time I quit my job after 10 years, I was a salaried partner. When I quit as a salaried partner, I always say, I earned good money then, still good money by today, if I was to state it today, but I reached a level where I felt that I needed to move out, because there is one thing that I've always believed. Even when I was a small girl, I always believed that I'm meant for greatness. And I would tell myself, and I walk down the streets, even on a lobby, and I would say, Esther, you are meant for greatness. So that has taken me to this far, because even when I was a student, I believed in me that I'm meant for greatness. I could not know what that greatness is, but I knew as long as I'm a student, the greatness was defined by being the best student then. And therefore, to be the great student I needed to be, I had to be number one. And so for my O level and A level, I came out as number one. When I went to employment, I started my salary. I started my job on a 4,000 shillings job. You started on 10? Mine was 4,000. But I always say I took that 4,000 shillings from a grateful heart, from a grateful position. And this is what I told myself. This 4,000, what has it done for me? The one thing it did for me is to allow me to get into the marketplace. And once I get into the marketplace, an opportunity has been created for me. And now it was upon me to decide what I want to do with that opportunity. So I took my 4,000 shillings, but I swore to myself, within 6 months, I'm going to double that salary. How was I, and why was I confident that I was going to double that salary? Because I knew and I had clarity of what I needed to do. Being in an audit firm, what did I need to do? I needed to pass my CPA exams, and I needed to work hard. That's all I needed to do. So my focus was, I need to pass my CPA exam, and if I pass my CPA exam, I'll automatically get an increase. And therefore, for 1 year, I focused on doing good work and passing my exams. And in 1.5 years, I became a certified public accountant. And in 6 months, I tripled my salary. I did not double it, I tripled my salary. Why? This is important. Because I had clarity of what I needed to do, and I pursued only what I needed to do. What am I telling you? In every assignment that you find yourself into, the first thing you must do for yourself is to understand the assignment, is to understand the job you are doing, is to understand the business you are doing, and then specify and know what is my end game. What do I want to achieve? When all is said and done, what is my end game? And that is one of the things, again, I've talked a lot in my book, because I have seen it work in my life. What is my end game? Once I define my end game, the other things I do here are details towards an end game. So scaling up the business. When I quit my job, I started an audit firm, Esther Muchemi and Company, is still there, but I don't practice anymore because that was the first place. I was an auditor. So the easiest thing to do when I woke up that one morning and decided I've crafted my dissertation and I've walked out, I'm not sure I exactly knew where I was going, but I walked out and started an audit firm. But I knew the audit firm was temporary. I knew it was a stopgap because the same reasons that allowed me not to get to the salary partner will still work along somewhere here. So yes, I did that, and I did it for 5 years. And the only thing, I came out with something. The only thing I came out in that audit firm for 5 years, at least I bought my first Mercedes-Benz. Clap for me. Mimi sikutoka bila kitu, at least nilitoka na kitu. Wewe ulitoka bila kitu. At least mimi nilitoka na kitu. And then after that, the telecommunication industry came in, and for some reason, I don't know whether it's being there at the right time, in the right time, or whatever it was, but let me tell you what that was for me. I knew that this is an answer to the greatness I've been looking for. Remember, I've told you, I've been very consistent about greatness. So even then I knew this will allow me to get to the greatness. And to the extent, that's important, to the extent I could understand, I'm not an engineer, I've not done any telecommunication anywhere, but to the extent I could, you take the first step. I do not believe in overanalyzing things. I believe to the extent I can understand. Inafaika pahali and I say, now I've gathered enough knowledge. I need to walk in. Hiyo ingine nitasomea huko katikati. So learn to dive to the extent you can understand, because a lot of people never get into their business, never get into their destiny, because they are always of analyzing and looking into things. Let me tell you what happens if you overlook things. And my English nimetoka Nyeri, so Kenyan threaded me the whole day because of my English. That's fine. So thank you guys, you made me famous. So what were we saying? So if you overanalyze things, what you do, you validate the fear in you. And once you validate the fear in you, you know the power of fear in you. If you become fearful, you are never able to move on. So never allow yourself to get to a level where now fear is becoming part of you. You cannot cross this job. You cannot move to the other level. Ukifika pahali unataka kuifuka, funga na tuende mbele. Because this is what we believe in. It is the idea that failed, but it's not you who failed. So idea ikifail, unayambia wewe idea umefail, nimekuacha huko nyuma, naenda kutafuta ingine, because it's not me who failed. It's the idea who failed. I have failed my ideas have failed severally, but I'm not a failure. Why am I not a failure? Because God never created failures. Failure is a creation of man. So scaling up our business. This is a story we are walking through. Scaling up our business, I do believe, is the ability to be able to move from one place to another. You may define the scaling up by the money that you are gaining. For me, by the way, money is not what I chase. And when I say that, people tell me it's because I have it. But I know if I continue doing what is right, oh yes. So when I know that we will continue doing what is right because it is right, and this is a truth, and I'll tell you that, the money will locate you. So chase the idea. Perfect what you are doing. Let money not be what distracts you. Money will find your way. It is a tested principle, and I know it works. So you want to move on. And somebody asked me, when did I know I needed to scale up? I started my audit, my Samchi telecommunication as one shop on Koinange Street. Today, we are probably going to 100 shops in only that one business. Today, we have 10 companies and counting. As late as November last year, I bought into two companies and creating a third one. And as I was sitting here, I was wondering, how did I do this? And there are various methods. I had never thought about that until today. There are various ways that I've used to scale up, to build my empire, as people will call it today. One is focusing on one business. I focus on one business for 10 years without moving right, left, or north, or south. For 10 years, I focus on one business. Why did I focus on one business? Because one, my resources were limited. There is no way, coming from the background, me, I'm not a political backed person, I'm a self-made person, I did not come from a rich family, and there is absolutely nothing free in my basket. Whatever is there is what I've worked for. Because of that, I recognize very early that I have limited resources, and because of that, the little money that I made, or the much money that I made, I could only put it in my business. Therefore, my first transaction to Safaricom was 50,000 Kenya shillings, and today, to be honest, we transact in millions in a day. Once I focused on that, it was not until 2017 to 2007 that I was able to diversify a little bit into the real estate. And in the telecommunication company now, we have 4 companies doing telecommunication only. Why was that method important to me? Because I'm an expert in telecommunication. So buying into another company and creating into another company, I can do when I'm closing my eyes like this. The company will run because I know it, and I know it so well. The systems and the processes around telecommunication are so good. The people around telecommunication have been tested and they have been tried. So for me, telecommunication is very easy. So no wonder I have 4 companies dealing with matters telecommunication. So those ones I bought into. Real estate, how did I start it? I started it by saving little by little. That's why it was my first major diversification, because then when I made like 100,000, you know that 100,000? Unanunua plot Komorok. I even tell people, you know, but, you know, it introduced the culture of saving at that very small level, 50,000 or 100,000, then we could afford. And because I did not want to totally be distracted in the telecommunication industry, I could take that 100,000 and invest where I can afford. Don't wait. Today I have 3 businesses, 3 buildings in the city center. And I'm saying, that's not where I started. Niko Komorok, Niko Kedhorai, Niko Kahawashukari. I mean, to be honest, I'm everywhere. You get what I mean? But it's because that was what was right for me to do then. With the little and where I'm coming from, that's what I needed to do. Then after that, of course, before, we will never be able to borrow from the bank. In fact, for a long time, and Washeke, you used to be my banker somewhere along the line, I was not even creditworthy in whatever. So for a long time, I could not borrow. So the first manager who gave me 800,000 in... Oh, am I supposed to say the bank? Okay, whatever. I still honor him today because he believed in me. And even when nobody else could believe in me, he believed in me. And he gave me a loan of 800,000. And that's how I scaled up my capital and working capital and all that. Today, banks look for me. I don't look for them. Because I built my credibility over time. I have built my cash flow over time. So when you talk that capital is the most significant limitation to business, I want to tell you no. For me, the most important asset I have had as I worked and I scaled up is honesty and integrity. That for me has worked for me. It's because of that my bank could give me a loan even when I never had security. It's because of that my suppliers would give me credit when I had no money. It's because of that some customers would come when anipatia 10 million and aniambia enda nunua airtime. We'll come for the airtime in the evening without writing integrity. If there is something you must build, a character you must have as an entrepreneur, is being honest. And to me, it is very basic. One, for example, I detest when finance manager tells my client, my supplier, cheki haijasainiwa na CEO na wakati hiyo haijakuja kwangu. I mean, that's a lie. You better tell the person, my cash flows now are not working. I'll pay you next month, because I've seen people honestly come through for me, including landlords, because I have had a honest conversation. And there's one thing I tell them: it doesn't matter how long it's going to take, I'll pay your money. By the way, I hate people when they draw me their money. I mean, I'll tell them, you are now becoming even unusual. Imagine somebody is looking for their money, and I'm also talking rudely. Because it's a matter of understanding myself, isn't it? And knowing I'll pay your money. I'm not doing this on purpose. And let me tell you, by the time you find somebody not with you, kuna kitu mumefanya. See, we are business people. You are either a borrower or a borrowed. Business people, either uko na madeni au madeni iko na wewe, or whatever it is. That is the truth. So let's just develop an environment that allows you to live and let live, isn't it? So when did I know that I could scale up? I knew that because I had achieved stability and confidence on the foundation of my business. I needed to leap and scale to another mountain. Foundation is very important. The other thing you notice is that I was focused. And as I get focused, there is something I want to tell you today, and I think it's controversial. And I never knew it was controversial until I wrote my book and talked about it. And then people started saying, anytime I go to a meeting like this, everybody is wondering, what is this? This is what I say. I do not believe in hustles. In fact, side hustles. In fact, I call them sideshows. However, the Kenyans have been captured to believe that you can do this, you can do this, you can do that, you can do everything. My experience is, if I started those funny side hustling everywhere else, I'll not be where I am. There is power in remaining focused and keeping your lane and focusing until you get your answer. This is a question that most newspapers will ask me when they interview me, and they love interviewing me, and I thank God for that. They'll ask me, do you ever have alternative B as you do your plans and all that? And to be honest, and I'll tell you this, I never have plan B per se. When I am setting up a project, I do not want to tell my mind that if things doesn't work, there is an alternative B. I want to tell myself, I've burnt the bridges. If it doesn't work, it is going forward. So your mindset is important. That's why I do not believe in the sideshows. Along the way, yes, I must tell you that there are businesses that I have closed along the way, and the reason I close them is because they are not scalable. Because for me, when I set up my business, one of the things I must identify is the business scalable. If I can see like it is looking like it's funny, that it will never go anywhere, no. Business that are funny guys that don't look like they'll go anywhere. Then you are spending your 2 years. Nakabiashara kanaonekana. Hakuna pahali kanaenda. Ikifika hapo, my advice is walk out and go and look for a business which you know, and this is where we are going, that 10 years down the line, the business is at this level, but I can already see that 5 years down the line, this is where the business will be. I can tell you for now, I know, and I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and there's something dramatically live in my business. My business will be difficult to crash. And I'll say that with a lot of confidence. Why? Because I've walked this journey step by step. I have failed and come back and said, this did not work for me, and so we go this way, isn't it? I have established the structures that allow me walk in my company, you find our values written on the wall. And some of them are very different. It's where you raise your stake, isn't it? For example, when you say that your honesty and integrity, that you do not engage in those things, you know them, eh? And people are walking in your ways. Naona kama wewe ni mjinga. How do you do business when you are not engaging in such and such a thing? But for me, if it violates my honesty and ethical way of doing business, and I'll tell you there are businesses I have left, business with lots of money that I've left along the way, just because they tested my ethical way of doing business. Having said that, I'm work in progress, and I'm not perfect until I leave this world. Therefore, you've been told you need to desire to scale up. You need to know why you want to scale up. One of the reasons is gaining influence, isn't it? Imagine you are so tiny there, your coffee thing you are not talking. Who are you influencing when you are in a corner somewhere? Java is influencing us, and the way you are, maybe it's your study kids, because they have grown, and you have seen them grow, and so they have the power on influence. Who doesn't like influence? Okay, you told us they're influencers. However, yeah, the other thing for me is about kingdom financing, and that have clarity as well. And finally, I really want to impact the world. So as I do in a business, I have a reason why I do it. Again, let me tell you guys, it is biblical that you dominate the world. Because God told you it is actually the first commandment. I know God created the first entrepreneur. Alimwambia wewe, nimecreate all these. Lakini go ahead, multiply, dominate, take the resources given to you. Oh my God, so guys, God celebrates entrepreneur. So can you celebrate yourselves? How else do I know that I'm expected to do that? You all know the story of the talents, isn't it? Moja alipatiwa moja, mwingine mbili, mwingine tano. Moja akajisikia akasema, wewe na mpozi yangu, mimi najua wewe ni mbaya sana. Siwezi fanya kazi wewe. Nilihide huko. Yani ulipatiwa pesa ukaanza kunugunika huko, unakuja kwa pia mwenyewe. He was told, why didn't you tell me this is the way you would behave? I would have given it. There are banks to make me interest. So why should you hide my talent there? But the others who increased, they were given. One was given 2, I think he was given 4, 5, they were given 10. Not only were they given in terms of money, they were also given dominion. So, when you increase your talent or whatever you call them, God will give you dominion. When you are found faithful with 1, 2, 3, 4, you give dominion. But if you cannot be counted to be faithful or 1, you end up. What are the advantages of scaling up? You get a bigger market share, you spread the risk, you make more revenues and profits. Yeah, surely biashara ni ya kufanya profits, eh? Hii mambo ya kufanya tu biashara hatuna profits. I say this by the way, lakini I chase money crazy, guys, even as I say this. So, because I know money answers all things. So I'm not contradicting myself. It's also the beginning of all evil. So, of course, we have talked about creating impact on society. There are also disadvantages of scaling up. Some of the disadvantages is you spread yourself too thin. Cash flows, you may have cash flow challenges, and there is lack of control depending on how you are scaling it up. Is there a right time to scale up as an entrepreneur? Scaling needs to be done with a lot of wisdom. Make sure the timing is right and gain mastery. You remember I told you I focused on one business for 10 years. After that, I was able to open businesses every 2 years. And I confess that. And if you change my history, you will find that the first business I focused on 10 years. The next ones I was able to focus every 2 years, to develop every 2 years. Now that I thought that I a new business every 6 months. But to my surprise, last year, I opened up 3 businesses. So I know it is possible, and that's what I want us to confirm. But remember, the timing must be right. You must master the model. Please don't move. You remember my friend there was saying she had not taken any lessons or something like that. Please, everywhere you go, the lessons. Oh my God, how do I put it? Please understand, internalize the process, internalize the success. If it's just to make money, people have made money and they are still dissatisfied. So you must ask your why. And until you answer your why, which why is personal to you, I would recommend you stick there until you answer your why. She said she was pushed. Your business should push you, isn't it? Don't just look at the influence everywhere. You have seen Miss Muchemi akona 10 companies. Now wewe unataka 10 companies. You think I got them one day? It's a journey. There has been pains. There have been sacrifices. And if you want to be able to scale up and become a successful entrepreneur, please be prepared to pay the price of success. You must have adequate capital when you start scaling up, because then it's not about 50,000. And so it's when you start talking of how do you raise capital when you are scaling up. For an entrepreneur at the startup stage, if you were to go back, what would you do in your early stages of business in preparation of scaling up? This is a very good question that I want to answer. Because I know it will come as a question, so let me answer it in advance. Now, one, what would I do differently today that I'm where I am? If I was to start again, and I'm glad I'm talking to people maybe who are at the start point. You remember the stones that appears to me? What would I do different? One, I would set up a team very early, and I would be bolder. Two, I think I would document processes. My first business, guys, was everywhere and nowhere. Today, I don't start a business if I don't understand, and not only understand, document the processes. I would adapt technology much earlier. As much as I was in telecommunication, even today, the telecommunication is the most IT-starved company because it grew too big that now to come and introduce IT and the changes they are in have become so complicated. The other business I'm starting, I'm adapting technology from day one, and I can tell you it's much, much easier. What else would I do? This is interesting. I would be less anxious. Now that I know that success will come, I would be less anxious. I'll be less fearful. I would have much faith and believe I will make it, because you will make it. Amen. Now, if you say amen here, what am I supposed to say? Can you scale and then go backwards? You said yes. The answer is probably yes if you combine the two. Can you scale and then go backwards? Yes, you can scale and go backwards. And I told you, person, I have closed the door. But let me tell you a different aspect of what I thought about this. There is a time that you will perhaps need to deliberately scale down. I did it myself at some point. When the business was driving me crazy, it was managing me. I had zero control of the business. The frauds in my business were times I don't know. My health was being affected because the business was controlling me. And I called myself out for a meeting, and I decided, if I continue doing it this way, I am going to crumble. And so I called myself back. I asked myself, what do I need to do now to be able to set a foundation that will test be tested, tried, shaken, but still stand. It costed me. One of the things it did cost me is market share. But I was prepared to lose a bit of market share for me to gain the stability that I needed so that when I start my upward climb, it will be upward and backwards. Let's agree. So, when you are pushed by circumstances to go down, and when you go backwards, I want to tell you this, because yes, it is possible. Do not give up hope. We have said it is the idea that fails. It is not you who fails. So, the Bible tells me a righteous person will fall 7 times, in equality. And that person will rise up again, in equality. So me, I'll fall 7, I'll fall once. Na kweli nimeanguka. Ninaenda tena. I fall again. These are only 2. I have another 5 to go. And even when I get to that 5, that 7, it now becomes 7 times 7, which is how many times? 49. And I can go on and multiplying it. So don't give up. When you look like you have failed, it's only a sign that has happened. Wake up again, and start the journey all over again. When you create a balance, when there is external factors affecting your business, you have already scared, like losing a major client. Interesting. Because I've experienced it. Let me tell you how I experienced it once. Now I feel like I need to remove my shoes. So I'm removing my shoes, guys. This is called confidence. You cannot be an entrepreneur who is not confident to create your own environment where you can walk barefoot and you see yourself, I'm beautiful and wonderfully made. Now, let me tell you, having the right foundations is going to help you in remaining stable and grounded. You must consider the risks as you move on a continuous basis. Every year, sit back and say, what is my business exposed to? Before the risk fight the risk. And when you fight the risk, then you will be able to deal with it from a point of strength. Because when we were doing audit, there's one, the issue of parastatus. Today you can have it as an audit client. Parastatus today you could have it an audit, and tomorrow is not an audit, isn't it? So for us, I was taught very early, you deal with it below the profit line, such that ikienda, it will not disorganize me. Tunaelewana. So you need wisdom in doing that, because it can happen. Let me tell you for me an example. One day, when I started my shop, I told you I had only one shop. And for some reason, we were the first person who did direct sales. That time there was no internet and all that. And then, Safaricom used to wonder, Miss Muchemi yako na kaduka moja. How is he sharing all this million na kaduka moja? He didn't know in that shop I had more than 100 salespeople who were selling from that one shop. But let me tell you guys what happened. One day, I woke up and the salespeople are gone. I have bought stock, and one day I've woken up and my salespeople are gone. And I'm calling them, they are not answering me. I'm telling the manager to call them, they are not answering them. And eventually, we discovered they had been poached by a competitor. They had removed my shirts, which were white and green, and they were now wearing blue. And I have stock. I needed to sell. What was I supposed to do? To query nilijishika. And I asked myself what? Fortunately, my husband was then. I called him. He was a defense attaché in Arusha. I told him my salespeople are all gone, and I don't know what to do. He was shocked. He also didn't give me an answer. He told me, I'll call you back in 1 hour. And he didn't call me in 1 hour. He didn't call me in 2 hours. He didn't call me in 3 hours. He called me since 6 o'clock. And then he told me, Esther, this is what I want you to do. We had started wanting to start an establishment in Isiri and another one in Nyeri. And he told me, call the manager in Nyeri, call the manager in Isiri, come back, and over the weekend, we will sort this out. So the guys came, and we started creating a team. It was hard. It was hard. But I honor the team I created because they are the ones who made me to be who I am. However, nilikuwa na homa ya miezi 3. Unajua ile homa ya stress? Hata ukinywa dawa gani haiendi. Miezi 3 nilikuwa na homa because the stress level was there. But let me tell you, I never lost even 10% of my market share because I was determined to make it a success. Out of that major disaster, I then decided never again will I ever expose myself to a team that can bring me down that way. And that's how I made that decision of distributing my airtime by other shops, spreading the risk, and that's how I have 100 shops today. So out of the calamity, I made a good decision that I've laid the foundation for whom I am today. So, you need to quickly know my major client has gone, or certain things has happened. You don't dwell there crying and mourning. Let me tell you, the world will not mourn with you. Unajifanya hivi, shaking yourself from the disaster, and you move on. Yes. Now, what mistakes you need to avoid at all costs when scared? I have many, but I'll tell you just a few because of time, I guess. One mistake you make, scaling without a foundation, and we have talked about that. The other one I would discourage is scaling too quickly. The other thing is ignoring your people because over time I've come to recover, especially in Kenya. Oh my God. People are such a key element of your success, yet they are the most troublesome one. Because human beings are not machines. They are people. There is a joke I always make, and it is true. It is true. Where I employ you, for example, on a Friday. Sini kweli? Tulikaa na wewe wiki mzima on a boardroom. Sini kweli? Nikakupatia barua on Friday. Wewe ukaenda nyumbani Saturday na Sunday. Mimi nikaenda nyumbani Saturday and Sunday. Alafu, Monday ninakukuta Brighter Monday. Surely, what did I do to you? We were not together Saturday and Sunday, and we agreed. But does it happen? It does happen. So, be sensitive about your people. It is important. Another thing I want you to remember, never compromise your long-term business plan for short-term growth. It doesn't work in the long run. Also, a mistake I would avoid today is not documenting my business processes. Another mistake I would avoid, and I have avoided it over time, is focusing on too many goals at the same time. And I can tell you there are so many of them, but I think those are whatever. What are my final thoughts on growth, scaling, and diversification? Always provoke your growth by asking, what is the next big thing? Where is the next opportunity? Always. Mimi nikienda kwa street, mimi naonaga opportunities hata nikifunga macho. Because my mind is such a that you can tell me something. For example, when I wrote my book, my pastor used to tell me all the time, Esther, I don't believe what you have is meant for you alone. And I could look at him and say, you know, I'll never be a pastor. So what is this challenge you are throwing my way? I go again. He tells me the same thing. I'm wondering, what are you talking about? Then I went to talk to people like you, and they asked me, what book have you written? I had nothing. And I told them, now that's how business ideas are developed. So the next time we meet, there'll be a book. Somebody will tell you, you are very stylish, for example. Maybe what he is telling you is that you should go into fashion and design. So learn to pick the opportunities as you go along. Never operate from a place of lack and feel comfortable. Aye. Huna chumvi na uko sawa sawa. Me, I set my goals this way. I set the goal there. For example, I'll say, for argument's sake, I'll say next year I want to leave Muthaiga ya Kibaki. Najua kuna Muthaiga nyingi. Na wanatuambia bado wako Muthaiga. Now, as where I am now, there is nothing that tells me I can get to Muthaiga ya Kibaki. Sini kweli? But I'll start taking small steps, little by little, and let me tell you, if today I purpose I'll live there in 10 years, I can tell you I'll live there. Because I'll be strategic in the moves that I take, isn't it? Now learn to steward your resources and then make the world a better place. Build wealth. I'm not saying you build riches. I'm saying build wealth and remain detached from it. Money is not everything. As you scale up, remember that there are less. And it's important for you to give, because I so much believe in the principle of giving. Have a desire and a vision that is taking you there. Define your critical sectors of desire. Let me elaborate this a little more. When I started my businesses or getting into entrepreneurship, I knew I want to be in telecommunication industry. I want to be in finance. And let me tell you why I wanted to be in finance. Because I thought rich people cannot be rich if you're not in finance. How stupid it is, but that's the way I thought. I wanted to be in finance. I wanted to be in real estate. I wanted to be in manufacturing. I wanted to be hospitality. Hospitality is funny because I didn't know whether it's a hospital or a school or whatever it is. I didn't even understand the name. But I knew I wanted to be in hospitality industry. So right from day one, I knew where I want to be. To be honest, I think I have conquered all of them, except manufacturing. Agriculture, we are getting into it soon, except manufacturing. And when I get into agriculture, who knows, maybe it will be manufacturing. So I have predetermined the areas I want to be. So today, if you come and tell me betting, that is not work, that is work. So I cannot touch no matter how much money it is, because I have predetermined the areas and the industries I want to participate. Many of us are everywhere and they don't even know where their strength point is. So that's one or whatever. Build your company to outlive you. As you start now, purpose and say, my business, my entrepreneurship is about my children, and to infinite. We have seen very many empires crumble in this nation, where when the father or the mother was there, it was this thing that we shared and we feared, all of us. 2 years down the line, there is nothing to show of. No, hakuna kitu. There's nothing as frustrating as that. We look at those empires today and we ask ourselves, what went wrong? The family structures were wrong. The business structures were wrong. The borrowing was wrong. And many other things were wrong. You need to have a boldness to demand for your inheritance and the courage to fight for it. Especially women. You need to arise and demand what is yours. And also men, we are here together. Eh? And so, and this is what I say. My life, my business, my journey is not about gender. It's about agenda. Clap for yourself. So let's stop wasting our time. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I don't know, I'm a child, I don't know, I'm a youth, I don't know, I'm a what. All those things. It's about the agenda. Focus on the agenda. Put your energy on the agenda, and truly you will achieve the agenda. Amen. The need for clarity. Now, this guy is making me a pastor. He knows I'm not a pastor. Need for clarity. Never start moving without the clarity. Even if it means you are settling there for 10 months, settle there a year. Until right now, I started in a project that I met the architect the other day, and I know in my heart it will not happen before 2022. Yes, I know. Honestly, it's true. Because I know and understand my businesses. For example, me, I never borrow to create a new venture. I borrow to use the cash flows of the businesses that are already in existence. So if the cash flows of the business that are existent are still held, that's my thinking, that's my philosophy, and I know many people will come with some others. So, this is what I want to tell you, and this is what I recommend. You have to identify your mountain. You have to dare ask for your mountain. You have to demand for your inheritance. You have to ask for your destiny. Once you get to the top of the mountain, you are there. Sinikweli. When you are there, you are able to see the next higher mountain. Sinikweli. Not only are you able to see the next higher mountain, you are able to see the lower mountains, you are able to see the plains, you are able to see the valleys. Imagine, it's so privileged possession, isn't it? But when you are here, you are struggling here. Sinikweli. So, as we come out of this meeting, if for nothing else, I want to inject you with this.